if a crisis does occur, try and get somebody there with you. I know when my son was in crisis, I would call my next door neighbor and she would come over, and oftentimes just having a third person that, there helps kind of calm the situation down. So that's always helpful. Just remain calm, use a quiet voice. Try and identify something you can both agree on. If your loved one is, deathly opposed to going to the hospital, that could be something you agree on. You could tell them, neither one of us want you to go to the hospital. So let's kind of calm down, and what can we do to prevent that together from happening? Don't, make threats or criticize or argue with them. Don't whisper behind their back or make jokes or make light of the situation. Keep your instructions clear and simple. Avoid making them feel threatened by touching them or standing over them. And then always make sure that you keep yourself safe by keeping yourself between the individual in crisis and the door. If you do need to call 911, make sure you ask them to send a CIT officer. Make sure you let the dispatcher know if there are any triggering behaviors. For instance, some people, if they, use the sirens on their squad cars or they come in uniform, those could be triggering behaviors that perhaps they can avoid if you let them know ahead of time. If there are weapons in the home, let the dispatcher know that ahead of time so they can come prepared. And then if they do end up having to transport them, encourage, try and talk the police into taking them to the hospital rather than jail. And be familiar with your hospitals. I know here in Columbus, we have several psychiatric hospitals, and some are much better than others. And I imagine that's the case in your area as well. So, get to know your various hospitals. And sometimes, if you ask the police to take them to a particular place, they'll do that. If your loved one has an advance directive, be familiar with that. Have a copy on hand if you can. What's likely to happen is they'll be held for a minimum of 24 hours, usually long enough to conduct an evaluation to determine if they need to be held for longer. They can hold them for up to 72 hours without their consent. After that, they need to have a court approve that holding them, again, involuntarily like that. And then the court can decide if they're going to be placing them either, involuntarily into an inpatient or outpatient situation.